What's going on, YouTube? So in a segment where the Asian brands rule the sales chart, there remains a premium German underdog, the Jetta. And for 2025, it gets a major refresh with lots of changes to everything except the price. So, is this giving you a premium Mini-Audi experience for less money than a Honda Civic Sport? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Alright, so let's start out under the hood as always with our spec dump. So there remains two different powertrain choices. All the trim levels except for the Performance GLI will come with this 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Makes 158 horsepower. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and our combined fuel economy is coming in at 33 mpg.
Now, of course, we're going to be taking it out for a spin to see how all that performs out on the road. We'll also be getting things like our signature sound level reading. After that, we'll also be discussing resale and reliability.
But first, let's go ahead and get into the exterior because there's some big changes up here, and there was also some big changes with the cabin as well. So like I was saying, they did make some upgrades to this overall exterior look, and that really begins up here with the front. Now the Jetta has always, really been a clean and sophisticated design, but they have really doubled down on that Mini-Audi look for 2025. We've got a new grille, so as you can see, you've got this latest design up here. You have the slender section at the top and then the wider grille down here at the bottom. Both of them are finished in a nice gloss black, and we even have a silver accent along the lower edge. Now in terms of what this model is, this is the SE, but most of them do look largely the same, besides for some adjustments to the headlights. So let's go ahead and talk about those. New headlight design across the board for 2025. You will always have standard LEDs. These are reflector LEDs on this SE trim level. However, if you get the SEL trim level, that's going to add a light bar that goes across between the headlights. On this model, as you can see, this is just a chrome strip instead. Obviously, you do also have LED turn signal indicators and daytime running lights as well. Now moving around to the back, just like with the front, we see some updates to the overall look, but it keeps that clean and sophisticated design.
Yeah, so what are those updates? Well, really the big change is the tail light unit. As you can see, now we have a full-length tail light design that was, previously not offered on the Jetta, and we also have some nice branding here in the middle. Now, Drew went ahead and hopped inside so we can check out all the tail light elements and see if they're all LED. As you can see, we have an LED brake light, turn signal, and LED reverse light. So we have a full LED setup, and that's across every single Jetta, which is super rare for this segment of vehicle. I have to say, super impressed by that. It's an Audi-esque taillight unit. As we drop down to this lower fascia, this is going to be mostly body color. You get exhaust pipes if you go for the Performance GLI version.
Now moving on to our wheels, you do have various different designs ranging from 16 to 18-inch alloys depending on which trim level you choose. The SE will normally come standard with 17-inch alloys. However, on today's example, we have the black wheel package, which gives you a black wheel. As you can see, this is an upsize to 18 inches, which really pops with this pearly white paint that we have on board. Coming up here to our mirrors, as you'd expect, all models do have standard heating as well as standard blind spot monitoring.
Now at the side of the Jetta, we have an overall vehicle length of about 186 inches long, which is actually pretty big for this segment. So we'll see how that translates to space later on. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, I'm happy to tell you that you're going to get the vast majority of those as standard equipment on every single Jetta. The only option will be auto high beams, which will come on some of the higher end versions. But guys, like we said, there are not just changes on the outside, there are quite a few changes on the inside. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and get inside now. First, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. We do have Volkswagen's smart entry system as well as remote start built into the fob on this mid-level SE trim level and above. And moving over here to the door itself, there's not a sensor behind the handle, so just press that black button there and that will unlock the door. All right, let's go ahead and check out the interior. Just like with the exterior, Volkswagen has refined many elements of the overall design and the features. But before we get into those individual elements, let's talk about our seats. So your lowest two trims, those are going to come standard with cloth seats. However, here on this SE, we have a leatherette seat. As you can see, nice look to this. We've got the two-tone finish with kind of a gray textured leatherette in the center section, and then a more conventional feeling leatherette over here on the outside edges in the black with the color contrast stitching. The seats themselves are also power adjusting, so as long as you get at least this SE trim, they're going to have 6 ways of power adjustment plus 2-way lumbar support. You can even get memory seats on the SEL. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Let's go ahead and look around at the rest of the cabin materials. So over here on our door trim, we have the leatherette with the stitching detail on the armrest. We got that same material as the seats over here in the middle, and it is a soft touch plastic along the top with a faux aluminum trim. As we move to the upper dashboard, this is all a soft touch plastic with a stitching detail. For 2025, we have a new vent design that kind of goes through there, as well as this piece, again in that same kind of cloth-ish leatherette type of texture. It's really an interesting material overall. And then down on your lower panels, it is going to be a hard touch plastic as you'd expect, but in typical Volkswagen fashion, it is very solid with that German build quality. And let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. Now that it's fired up, a fitting place to begin is with our upgrades to the gauge cluster. So new for 2025, we now have a standard virtual cockpit system. This is an 8-inch display. As you can see, that center section there is reconfigurable with a lot of different designs if you press the view button on the steering wheel. If you get the top 2 trims, though, it actually upgrades it to an even bigger 10.25-inch version of the virtual cockpit system. Pulling back to the steering wheel, we've got the latest Volkswagen design. It is a flat bottom. We have the leather wrapped on this SE trim level, and it is manual tilt and telescoping. If you get either the SEL or the GLI, it will additionally be heated. And let's go ahead and check out interior storage. So they have revised the console area a bit for 2025. If I open up our center console, first thing you'll see is that it is loaded down with donuts. This is Car Confections after all, and we like to put donuts inside of the center console to check the volume. And today I'm very impressed to say that this passes the donut test. It fits a full dozen donuts inside, exactly 12, which is one of the biggest options in the entire class, only just a little behind the Honda Civic. Now in front of that you have a little slot here, 2 pretty large cup holders, and then up in the front, another big area with a wireless phone charging pad inside and a couple more USB connections. As far as the shifter is concerned, this is just a traditional style, pull back for drive. You can bump over here to the right if you want to shift manually, but you won't get paddle shifters unless you choose the GLI with the dual clutch. And then going into reverse, you'll see the standard backup camera on board with this model. Resolution is a little crunchy, and you don't have active trajectory, you just have the basic guidelines. However, you do get an upgraded camera experience, which gives you parking sensors if you get a GLI or an SEL. And then, of course, you do also have your electronic parking brake, and this button here will defeat your auto start-stop. Now, moving our way up the dashboard, we come to one of the other new areas for 2025, and that's the fact that we've got a kind of a touch-sensitive panel. It's called Climatronic in Volkswagen speak, and what this is a standard dual-zone automatic climate system across the trim level structure. What you do here, like in their other models, is just kind of swipe across. You can also tap individually. It is very responsive overall. Up above that, you also have 3-stage heated seats. Those are included on all but the base model, and surprisingly, you can get ventilated seats. Again, you're going to need the SEL or the GLI for those features. Heading up next to our volume knob, today we have the mid-level trim with the mid-level audio system, a 6-speaker sound system. Let's give it a sample. So overall sound quality is quite good for this segment. It fills up the cabin perfectly fine for that mid-level option. You do also have an available Beats audio system at the top end. Alright, let's zero in with our infotainment system next. This year you have a standard 8-inch display. It's actually going to be included on every single model from base all the way up to the top. As you can see, pretty good resolution on board with this. It does also have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities, again, across all the trim levels. If you want a built-in navigation system, though, you will need one of the upper-end trim levels. Up above, you will have a standard auto-dimming mirror. We have the available one, which gives you HomeLink remotes and the compass, nice frameless design as well. Also on your upper end trim levels, you will get this sunroof, which has kind of the transparent sunshade. On the SE that we have today, this is an available option. As you can see, it does open up as well.
And let's go ahead and dive into the rear seat of the Jetta. Now, of course, this is just a refresh, so that means that overall space figures aren't going to change much, but that's one of the great things about this vehicle is it's longer than most of the competition, which means that you have a lot more rear space, and you'll see a little bit later a lot more trunk space too. Now, as far as the space figures, 37 inches is your legroom and headroom figure, which will be larger than the vast majority of things in this segment. I'm 5'9". This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". And let's see how much additional knee room we have. Very good. 7 inches of additional knee room, and I can also slide my feet up underneath of the seats. Speaking of the seats, I want to point out these are actually quite comfortable. A lot in this segment will actually, kind of cheap out and give you a harder seat in the back. As far as the armrest, we do have that included as well with 2 cup holders inside. Now, you will notice here for the center area, no vents on any version of the Jetta. However, an available feature that you will find is heated rear seats. That's something that really almost nothing in the segment offers anymore. You can get that if you choose the SEL. We have some LED lighting up top, and then let's turn to the door trim. The door trim is going to be cheaper than the one in the front, so we have a hard touch upper portion and the middle section. However, our armrest will be still nicely padded, so that's good. And then we also have quite a bit of bottle storage, so we'll actually fit a full Stanley water bottle, so I'm happy to see that as well. You can just kind of slide it in there like so. Now, walking up to the tailgate, we do have just a button right there to open it up, and it is nicely dampened to open all the way up. Now, you'll notice that there's actually quite a bit of space back here, 14.1 cubic feet according to Volkswagen. That is a very, very good space figure for this segment. Now, as far as some of the features that you'll find, you do have 60-40 split folding rear seats, and it's a Car Confections review after all, so we're going to get our cargo length, width, and height figures. As far as overall cargo length, we're sitting at 42 inches. Cargo opening is about 38 inches wide, and cargo height is about 23 inches. Now, if we lift up the floor, there is a spare tire integrated underneath. And another thing that's, pretty uncommon in this segment is hand grabs. You actually have them on both sides to go ahead and shut the trunk up. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2025 Volkswagen Jetta. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our signature sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration to show you what the powertrain is like.
Alright, and that was a pretty good acceleration with this Volkswagen Jetta. Like we mentioned at the spec dump, most of the models, as in every single trim except for the GLI, is going to get the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's making 158 horsepower, which is pretty good and respectable for this segment of vehicle. Overall, it feels pretty punchy. Because it's a turbocharged engine, you do have kind of some low-end grunt, which is always welcome in this segment.
You know, and I think the other thing that I do appreciate about this, powertrain setup is the fact that it's pretty quiet and just kind of blends into the background. Like Drew said, it has that spunky feel to it, but also, some in the segment can really just be loud when you floor it. And this one is quiet. It seems like that, typical German characteristic of having a smooth, refined turbo 4-cylinder, so I do like that. Also, part of the reason why we feel that extra grunt is the fact that we have 184 pound-feet of torque. So compare that to something like a Civic Sport with its naturally aspirated engine at this point. You're going to have so much more torque than you would in that option. You do also have the GLI version as well, which has a 2-liter turbo 4. That's going to be making 228 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. And of course, that's going to be the option that you should choose if you really want your maximum, fun driving experience.
Right, GLI is basically a GTI for the Jetta sedan, giving you that sedan body style with that higher performance option. Let's also talk about transmissions, because I've got those on my mind. When you get the GLI, you can actually get a 6-speed manual and row your own, which is awesome that they still offer that. That model also has the availability of a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. However, when you get the more traditional trim levels, that will have an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, most of this vehicle's rivals come with continuously variable transmission, so I think it's pretty good to see the traditional transmission option on board. It's a nice responsive transmission as well. You put your foot down, you immediately get that downshift, and it'll give you more power.
Not bad. All right, and we're going 55 miles per hour, so let's go ahead and get our signature sound level reading. We have it on fan speed 1. .56.5 decibels is what we are sitting at as our official sound level reading, going 55 miles per hour in the Volkswagen Jetta. Now, I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to some of the competition, because I can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And indeed, on our website, that shows that this is one of the quieter options in the segment. That's for sure. We actually have tested out a Jetta before, and that's actually was the quietest vehicle in the segment. So just know that you will have a pretty premium experience when it comes to how much noise is entering into this cabin. That's something that I believe this vehicle's chief rival, the Honda Civic, really struggles in. It lets a lot more noise in than this model, so I do like that you're going to find that quiet cabin in here. And let's discuss ride quality as well for this Jetta. Now, a couple things I want to point out. We're just kind of going over a little bit of a rougher spot of pavement here. Overall, I think the ride is very good for this vehicle. It, feels very similar to what you're going to get in most of the options in the segment. I will say that you could probably get maybe a few other ones that are a little bit more comfortable. Namely, I'm thinking like a Corolla is a little bit more softly sprung than this. But overall, I think that the ride quality is quite good. It actually rides better than some of the other options that tend to go on the sportier side of things. This Jetta is a little bit more luxury focused.
And I feel like it just feels solid.
Yeah.
You kind of expect that from any type of German vehicle, and even the most affordable German vehicles do kind of have that characteristic where, you're going over those bumps. You're not going to hear any, rattling plastics and things like that, because it all just feels like one nice cohesive piece. We do have an auto start-stop system on board. That was the engagement of that. Overall, it's nice and smooth. You can turn it off, as I pointed out earlier, if it bothers you, though.
And let's discuss fuel economy as well. So I think one of the really great things about this Jetta is the fact that the fuel economy is quite good, despite not having a CVT and having the more traditional 8-speed automatic. Still rated at 29, 39, 33 mpg combined. So that's, if you're keeping track of it, that's only 1 mpg worse than the Civic Sport. So really, really good fuel economy. As far as the GLI, that is going to be about 30 mpg, so still pretty good fuel economy out of that model too.
So we have a little corner coming up here. Let's go ahead and kind of toss it around. Yeah, not too bad. As far as your overall just dynamic ability, like Mason was mentioning earlier, unless you get the GLI, performance really isn't the biggest focus of this model, obviously, but it does have really good fundamentals. The overall balance is quite nice. Not much body roll as well, compared to, say, the Civic we're getting ready to drive by. That one's just a little bit more buttoned down, and the steering is a little bit firmer, but I do actually think they increased the weight of the steering a little bit this year. It does seem to be heavier and more responsive, so I like that.
All right, now it's time for us to get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball. Drew, why don't you kick us off with our Slam Dunk, which is our favorite element about the Jetta?
Yeah, for this, it's really going to be elements. It's the updates for 2025. I think on the surface, it seems like, it's not that big of a deal what they did to it, but all these little things really add up to make the overall experience that much better, already on a pretty strong overall offering for the segment.
Yeah, on the Airball side of things, like Drew said, it is very strong. Really, the only thing we can complain about is the fact that they don't have a hybrid offering, which is something that is, increasingly becoming more common. The Civic now has a hybrid offering finally for 2025, and the Corolla's had it for many years. Elantra has it as well. So a lot of the options in this segment are giving you the really good fuel economy that you can get out of a hybrid within this class. Lastly, when it comes to your warranty, you have a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic and powertrain warranty. You do also get 2 years of complimentary maintenance. So let's talk about pricing. Really, things in this segment have gone just up and up and up when it comes to pricing. However, Volkswagen did not raise the price for this refreshed model, which I'm so happy to tell you about. So still, we start at under $22,000 for the S trim level, and then as we go up the trim structure, you're barely going to hit the $32,000 price point, even with the GLI. Now, if you want a popular configuration like this is the 25 Jetta SE. We're going to start at $24,975, so that's a very affordable price tag. Now, if you want to add some of the options as well as what we've done, we're sitting at about $28,643, which I still think is a very good price point for what you're getting here. That's barely any more expensive than a Honda Civic Sport. Now, if you'd like to buy a Volkswagen Jetta or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's go ahead and dive into resale and reliability. So let's begin by discussing resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Volkswagen Jetta's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 51.8% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 14.7%. Now, it's worth noting that it is going to be lower than some of the options you may be looking at, like the Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla. However, it is still above the industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. What this does is take into account several studies from trustworthy sources on reliability and combines them in a way that paints a more holistic picture. In this regard, Volkswagen is rated well below the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale or reliability data, as well as our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the refreshed 2025 Volkswagen Jetta. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decision, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to get the latest car reviews such as this, you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. I promise you won't want to miss out. There's a lot of fun stuff that we do on this channel and a lot of really informative videos you won't want to miss. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.